I'm Mahdi Shaheeb Sher. My website is www.mahdishaheebsher.com. I think one of my interests in the world as Mahdi Shaheeb Sher is kind of Europe and Europeans. I don't quite connect with Europe. I think as a continent, Europe is very much trade orientated, and I think it has a background and a history of merchants and kind of a mercantile interest that kind of dominates everything more than maybe other things in its culture. So I think that I do connect with Europe or its culture or its literature or its philosophy or its art. I think when you study Europe and you look at its art, I think the best it's managed to achieve is art like with the artist Monet and its flowers and its portraits and its landscapes. It seems to be the same thing that's very repetitive, and they call it the sophistication of European culture at its height with all of its advanced art. But I think that European art on its own is quite basic. I don't think it kind of stretches the imagination of the world, other than what Europeans see within their own imagination. And if you look at what European art kind of consists of, then you can kind of gain an insight into what that European imagination is. And I think when you look at artists like Monet with his flowers, with kind of Van Gogh with his kind of long strokes and kind of mental illness, when you look at Picasso and all of the other artists like maybe Dali and his surrealism, I think when you look at these artists, their imagination doesn't stretch very far. I think that can be quite obvious in the art that they do produce. And I think when Europeans talk about the sophistication and achievements of the Renaissance, I think it is misplaced. I think that the best artist that Europe has produced is maybe Leonardo Da Vinci, and I think he's exceptional as kind of as an intended artist, in that he dedicates a lot of his vision to art. But however, if you look at Leonardo da Vinci's art itself, it's pretty much black and white art. It's pretty much dark art as well. And there's no such thing as dark art. It should be always vision art and hopeful art and vision art. So I think even with Leonardo da Vinci, with his ink paintings and ink art, and I think that his other representations are quite limited as well. And I think that the other interesting thing about European art is that most of the artists are homosexual as well. So most of the art looks homosexual. It very much has the ingredients of paints that has been drawn by homosexual artists. So I do admire European art very much. And I think most of my inspiration for art comes in kind of the experimentation and the advancement of it with kind of the themes and stories of mankind. I think that's the type of art that sometimes I look at. I think that if you can capture the psychology of mankind in art, and then that could be good art and progressive art. But I think most of the themes that artists represent, especially in Europe, cover simply flowers and portraits of people and individuals, perhaps of maybe empty hills and maybe kind of cluttered tables of food and things. I think that European art kind of shows the development of its culture at its probably pinnacle, which occurred around 1600, around about the time of Leonardo da Vinci. And I think that's the pinnacle of European culture and its advancement. So that's one of my views about Europe and its place in the world. So that's the view of Europe. Thank you.